Hello and welcome to the Front Office Podcast. I am your host, Marcus Cameron. And as always, our show is sponsored by Tees and Trees Clothing. Tees and Trees is where we stand on business. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time you're checking in, man. I apologize to my subscribers or anybody who checks out the show on a consistent basis because I haven't been too consistent. So I definitely have to offer my apologies. Life be lifing, and unfortunately, you got to prioritize certain things. And I'm not even going to say unfortunately. I'll just say, when you get married or you have kids, you have a family, you just have to prioritize those type of things. And I have a senior son, 18 years old. He's going to be graduating high school this year in May. And he actually has received a partial scholarship, academic and athletic, to attend Lander University, which is an amazing feat. I'm so proud of him. Aaron Cameron, man, I love you, bro. Like, you are definitely an inspiration to me, man. I can't describe the feelings inside that I have, but I definitely have been trying to deal with that. And my wife, my daughter, we got track runners. Anybody watching the show, we have track runners. So track and cross country. So it's been a lot going on. And I'm back. We are about mid-season for the NBA. Well, I think All-Star Weekend. Super Bowl is tomorrow. I'm recording this. I don't know the date. Y'all know I never know the actual date. That's how my days go. But tomorrow is the Super Bowl. Philadelphia versus Kansas City. I'm not going to talk about that on this particular episode. I'm going to just do a whole separate episode and try to catch up with my content. But NBA is All-Star Weekend is coming up next weekend. And trade deadline just passed this Thursday. You know what? We're not even going to bullshit about it, man. Let's get straight to it. We're going to start with the Eastern Conference. And in the Eastern Conference, we're going to talk about the Atlanta Hawks. All right, we're going to go from the bottom to the top. The Hawks, I believe, right now are either in 9th or 10th place in the Eastern Conference, which is playoff position, where they were last year. But they lost their, I thought he would probably end up being an all-star, Jalen Johnson for the year, their forward. He's been putting up some big numbers this year. I definitely pick his name a lot in prize picks for sure. He's definitely one of the guys who covers. But he's been having a pretty good year. Dyson Daniels been playing well for him. They made a trade and got rid of Bogdanovich. I know the Hawks announcers call him Bogey. But he's a really good shooter. I'm not sure on the defensive end. Tough player, though. Good player. Solid. They sent him to the Clippers. And in return, they received Terrence Mann and Bones Highland, which they let go pretty much the next day. Guess they weren't interested in keeping him on the team because of the other trade that they made, which was to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Caris LeVert and Georges Niang. They sent DeAndre Hunter, which, that one's not talked about a lot, but that's a big piece for the Hawks. And Cleveland is already at the top of the Eastern Conference, and I thought they just got that much better getting DeAndre Hunter. He's a really good player, rebounds well, shoots the shit out the ball, just has to be more consistent, and I think Cleveland is looking for more shooting right now. And everybody's trying to get as many wings as possible. If you're going to beat Boston, you're going to need athletic wings that can score the ball, play defense, and that's pretty much what Cleveland went out and got. But I thought the Hawks did a good job of replacing what they weren't getting from Jalen Johnson. Not that he wasn't able to produce, but now that he's hurt, he can't give you those minutes. He can't give you the boards and points and assists that he was giving you. So, you bring in Terrence Mann, good player, solid, got playoff experience. Caris LeVert, he's a guy who can create, explosive offensively. I think he's a little on the weaker side as far as defense is concerned, but still yet great player. You pair them with Dyson Daniels, who's a great defender, Trae Young, and the rest of the guys on the Hawks, and they can make a push. I could see the Hawks probably getting as high as maybe 7th, but more than likely they'll probably stay in that play-in range, and then we'll see who they have to match up with and what goes on with that. But on to our next team we want to discuss is the Miami Heat. This is the trade that pretty much everybody was aware of, was waiting for. They had the most publicity. Media was all over it. Jimmy, Pat Riley going back and forth. Shout out to Kevin Love for keeping us entertained with his fucking Instagram. That shit is hilarious. If you're not following Kevin Love, please go follow this man and just go back and just look at the reels he been posting. But they finally got Jimmy out of there. Jimmy got the contract extension with the Warriors that he want. Warriors get Jimmy and I believe a second or first round pick. Hold on one sec. Second round pick and cash consideration. So yeah, Pat was trying to get him up out of there. But I think Miami did a good job of replacing him. You got Andrew Wiggins, great player, NBA champion. I think a change of scenery is great for him. Whether he's going to adapt to the whole Heat culture thing, that's what all the players that they got is another thing. But good pickup. Kyle Anderson, they got him from the Warriors as well. Great pickup. That was a really good pickup. And they also got Davion Mitchell. So, the Heat made some moves. I'm not sure if they're as scary. I'm going to have to see how it plays out because I think right now Tyler Hero is pretty much the man down there. I mean, Bam is Bam. Bam's been having an off season in my expectations of Bam. I'm not saying that he's playing like trash and no shit like that. But I'm just saying my expectations of Bam has not been, what I would consider as being Bam-like from what I've seen for the past couple of years. The reason why he's an actual Olympian is, what I think what we've all kind of accustomed from him. And, I can understand why your numbers are off. You're not playing well, and then you got all this drama going on with Jimmy and Pat, and that's probably your boy. So, it's a lot of things going on with the Heat, man, but I don't really see them pushing past the play-in. I'll be shocked if they make a run. It'd be good to see. I think the Eastern Conference is better when Miami's good, Boston's good, the Knicks, Chicago. They're not going to make the playoffs this year. But nevertheless, I'm glad Jimmy got out. I'm glad Pat Riley's got the headache gone and Jimmy don't have to deal with any other bullshit. Like, I'm not an NBA insider, but that I can't see how that couldn't be distracting for the rest of the team. I mean, for the rest of the players on the team. That has to be distracted. That, you work with one motherfucker who just ain't got to come to work, or every time he try to come to work, they send his ass home. It's a distraction. It's got to be a distraction no matter how much they tell you and say, oh, no, it ain't. Whatever. That doesn't mean that they're not cool with that worker. It's some bullshit going on. So for them to get that situation, the Warriors are clearly in a rebuild. But we'll talk about them when we go to the Western Conference. The next team I want to talk about is the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons actually made one small move in the trade deadline, and they addressed the need that they needed to address, which is the backup point guard position. They got Dennis Schroeder. I think they got him from the Jazz after the Warriors traded him with another deal. And it was a great pickup. Detroit's been playing well. They've been playing great basketball. They just beat the shit out of Philly on TV, and they had all three of their big three there. And Detroit was without Cade Cunningham. It was impressive. I have a hard time believing in Tobias Harris, but he's been playing good basketball. Cade has been an all-star. He's proven he made the all-star team. Jaden Ivey, going down, I thought that was a piece that they needed to address. And shout out to Bernie Bickerstaff. He's not going to get Coach of the Year, but he should definitely get some consideration. I thought the GM did a good job getting a guy who everybody was trading away, and you probably can find some value. Schroeder's a good player. He's definitely a great backup point guard, so that's going to help them make a playoff run. I can see Detroit making a good playoff push, maybe get up as high as 6 or 5. I think they're 7th right now. But they are a very good basketball team, and I probably, you never know how it goes from now until April. There's a lot of season left, injuries, things of that nature, but the front court is good. Dern is a beast. Isaiah Stewart is a beast on the boards. They got some good pieces, man. They got some really good pieces, and like I said, Bernie Bickerstaff is doing an amazing job in Detroit right now. I don't think anyone has it on their 2025 board that the Detroit Pistons are going to be in the playoffs, maybe besides my homie Tim Johnson, who's a Detroit Pistons fan. If you're not a Detroit Pistons fan, you probably haven't been paying attention. I did say on the podcast last year that they were building some good young talent. The Thompson twin, Cade, Ivy, Tobias, Duran, Isaiah Stewart. I mean, they got some guys that they can go to war with, and they feel good about it. That front office is doing what they're supposed to do. Great picking up Dennis Schroeder, man. Great pickup. Our next team, Milwaukee Bucks, who are currently fifth. Correction, Detroit is sixth currently in the East. So, yeah, they can get up to fifth, maybe even fourth, honestly. But Milwaukee made a trade to get Kyle Kuzma from the Washington Wizards for Chris Middleton. That's some picks and some other shit that we don't really care about right now. Just the meat of the situation, pause, is Kyle Kuzma for Chris Middleton. They're both making a shit ton of money, so I don't think it's a cap move. I'm not sure if Milwaukee gets better on this move. I got to see it. Kyle Kuzma has been in basketball hell for the last 2-3 years. I got to know that he's ready to, mentally contribute to a team that has aspirations of winning the championship. You got Dame and Giannis. Giannis is playing great basketball this year. He's not getting any MVP nods because of the way SGA's been playing, but Giannis has been playing at an MVP level for sure all year long. Dame seems like he's figuring it out, playing a lot better, more consistent. They got some good young pieces. Brook Lopez, you got Bobby Portis. Milwaukee can make a push. Doc at the head coaching. I don't think Doc's a bad head coach. I just think Doc is mid-level, if that sounds kind of disrespectful. But I'm just judging coaches and where I will put them. I will put Joe Mazzulla probably, not elite level, but definitely top level. But Doc has a lot to prove as far as being able to get a team there. Doc has a championship. I mean, he's a good coach. I think he can definitely get it done. It's just he has a problem sometimes of folding in playoff series, especially early. He had that issue with the Clippers, but, he redeemed himself and won him a championship in Boston. So we'll see how that plays out, man. Again, Kuzma, 15 points a game, right at about 6 rebounds. Middleton, neither one of them, well, Middleton can't stay healthy. That's his big issue, and the fact that they paying him all that money. So I guess their GM is looking at it as, let me get a productive body who's going to be healthy. Whether it's a good move or not, we going to find out, man. We going to see. We going to see it. But, let's see what happens. Kuzma has won the championship. He's been around great players, LeBron, AD. So he can contribute. I'm not sure if that's the move that makes you or puts you over the top. But again, like I said, All-Star Weekend is next weekend. We're still kind of in the middle of the season, so nobody panic. I'm not making any predictions. You shouldn't be either. The NBA is a very long season, so anything can happen. Let's just see how it plays out, man. But like I said before, man, we're gonna go from the top to the bottom. I mean, from the bottom to the top. We're getting a little closer to the top. Indiana. Really, they traded James Wiseman away. I don't even remember who they traded him to. Indiana I think they're fourth or fifth in the East this year, and they've been up and down. They have times when they look scary. They have times when they look like absolute shit. Today, on a national televised game, they look like shit. They got the shit beat out of them by the Lakers with no LeBron, no Luka. We're going to get into that. I promise you. It's coming. We're going to get into that. But Indiana has the potential. They have great pieces. I love Mathurin. I think his game is, I think he is being a little kind of fitting the team role right now in Indiana, but he's a really good player. Halliburton just hasn't been Halliburton this year. And maybe it's after a long summer and it's taking him a little bit longer. I can see that. He's a young player. He should have the legs for it, but everybody just can't lock in all the time right away and just do it. We get spoiled as the fans sometimes and we don't understand that somebody can have a bad day. You can have a bad day on your fucking job, bro. That don't mean you don't know how to do your job well. That don't mean you're not one of the best people at your job. So, I try to give the players a little bit of grace, but he definitely has been disappointing so far this year. From All-Star to that performance that he's been putting out it's a big drop off. But again, All-Star break coming up. This is a playoff team. It's a team that got all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. Rick Carlisle is a hell of a coach. So, you know, we'll see what happens with them. But, right now they're in a good spot. I don't think they're not going to make the playoffs at all. It's just last year I thought they were a team to fear. I think a lot of teams didn't want to play Indiana. The Knicks had a hell of a time with Indiana. They had a hell of a time with Indiana. Indiana ended up winning that series, and by the time they got to Boston, Indiana was pretty much playing on one leg, Halliburton with the hamstring and everything. So we never really got to see it materialize. And, of course, Boston went on to go to the finals and win the championship over the Dallas Mavericks. But Indiana, we will see. But they're not scaring me right now. They're not a team I feel like is going to just roll through the East anymore. There's a lot of other teams that are out there that are making a push, that are making a real push. Our next team is going to be the New York Knicks. For all you Knicks fans, my man Chewy, shout out to Chewy. Kenneth, I used to work with you at Verizon. I'm sorry, bro. It's late. I had a long day, and I'm a little on the blow side. So, you know what I mean? I'm a little on the high side. Pause, not blow. High. Kenneth Pompey. Yeah, there it is. I got it. Kenneth Pompey. You New York motherfucker, you. Kenneth is a funny fan, man, but he's definitely 100% New York. You guys have been making some moves. The Karl-Anthony Towns trade is not working out the way I thought it was going to work out. I really thought Minnesota was going to win that trade, and they still have time, but right now it looks like the Knicks won. The Knicks won that trade because Karl-Anthony Towns has been playing at an all-star level. For a good portion of the season, he was playing at an MVP level. Jalen Brunson is Jalen Brunson. You got Mikal Bridges coming over this year. Josh Hart just does everything, man. I've liked Josh Hart since he played with the Lakers. He just has a high motor. He goes out and he plays winning basketball. He's diving on loose balls. He's getting rebounds. He can shoot the three. He can cut. He doesn't complain about shots and shit like that. They have a good formula over there, but as usual, Tibbs is being Tibbs, and he going to play the shit out you as far as minutes are concerned. And at some point, I want Tibbs to change that, but, I think he's not able to because sometimes you only get a certain amount of guys that you feel like you feel good with being on the floor. Yeah, every NBA team has the same amount of players, but every coach doesn't get all the players that they want. And that's just the reality of the business. And as a coach, you got to kind of work around that. You got to figure out how to do it. And I think he's just stuck in that mode, and he's going to be stubborn with the success that he's had in his career as far as, look, this works. I haven't won a championship yet, but I believe in what I'm doing, so I'm going to keep doing it. They play a lot of minutes, but the Knicks look good. I think they're fourth in the East right now. Maybe third. They might be third. But either way, the Knicks are definitely a team that I want to see what they look like come playoff time. Towns has been relatively healthy. He's missed a few games. Jalen Brunson's missed a few games. Hart, just normal games, nothing major. I definitely would love to see a Boston and New York series at some point in time during the playoffs. I think that would be a very good series as far as the style of play is concerned. Boston shooting a lot of threes. Tibbs really pressing on defense, pushing the ball. They want to get their big guys involved because that's the strength of their team as far as Karl-Anthony Towns, but he can shoot the three. So that makes them very hard to kind of defend, but I think the Celtics can do it. If I had to pick it right now, I'd say the Celtics would win a close series, probably 4-2. But the Knicks really didn't really make any moves. I don't think they had to. I brought them up because I just wanted to discuss how well they have been playing. But, they didn't really make any moves. And really that was pretty much it as far as the trades in the Eastern Conference, except for the big trade with the Hawks and Cleveland. Like, again, Cleveland is the number one seed currently, and I just thought that they made a really good trade. I think it was hard getting rid of Niang and LeVert. Both are very key players in their playoff run last year, but I thought you did upgrade. Hunter is a hell of a player. He is a shooter. He plays defense. He's a rebounder, capable rebounder. They got a lot better. Cleveland got a lot better, and they're definitely making a run. Definitely been surprising me so far They have definitely been surprising me so far this year. I know they're a good team. I didn't think they were the number one seed. Garland has been better. Mitchell has been better. The Twin Towers between Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. Listen, Cleveland is for real. Cleveland is for real. If they stay healthy, Cleveland is going to be a hard out. They're gonna be a hard out of the playoffs. And if they keep that number one seed, I can see Cleveland going to the Eastern Conference Finals for sure. All right, definitely going to the Eastern Conference Finals if they keep that number one seed and avoid Boston. If they get Boston anywhere between, and I'm taking the Celtics. If they get Boston right now, there is not a team that's better than the Celtics to me. They might not be playing at the level that they're supposed to play, and hopefully they wake up a little bit. But Boston is just cruising. They are really cruising, and I don't see anybody in the East beating Boston. But again, injuries happen, season happens. The rest of the season has to happen. All-Star Weekend hasn't happened. So, it's very, very early, but Cleveland looks great. Cleveland looks great, man. But I know everybody wants to talk about the Luka trade, man. Let's get to the Western Conference. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to go from bottom to top. And from bottom to top, that takes us to the biggest trade of the trade deadline. Dallas is definitely not last, but they are currently in a play-in position, and they decided to trade Luka Doncic and Markieff Morris for Anthony Davis, Max Christie. Damn, I was about to say Doug Christie. Max Christie, and I believe a pick or something like that. But the big names in the trade are Anthony Davis and Luka Doncic. I'm a little torn on this trade. Number one, the GM for the Dallas Mavericks, Nico, I don't know his last name. I know it, but I don't know it at the moment. But Nico. If you happen to listen to this podcast, Nico, and I'm pretty sure you don't, but if it comes across your social media some kind of way, bro, you need to take a class on some fucking customer service, dog. Like, what the fuck did anybody see this press conference? This might have been one of the worst press conferences I've seen from a GM standpoint, and not like, it was just just outlandish or disrespectful or anything like that. You knew how those fans felt about Luka Doncic, and for you to get up there and be cutting jokes and shit, you knew it was gonna break the internet when this news broke. Whatever the reason is, I'm not in the Mavericks organization. I don't know if Luka's an alcoholic. I don't know if he can't stay away from the females, or he don't take it seriously, or if he's overweight, or whatever fucking reports that y'all putting out, to save yourselves. I'm going to say it like this, my man. You better hope AD stay healthy, and he got hurt today. Now, I don't think it's anything serious, but you better hope it stays healthy. And it's because of how you casually did that shit in the press conference, man. You just up there cutting jokes, bro. Like, it's nothing funny about what you just did. Now, as far as the, aspects of the trade, not a bad trade. It's going to be a lot of people that's going to be like, oh, that was stupid. No, Anthony Davis has been playing at the MVP level all year. Whether you want to admit it or not, look at the numbers. Anthony Davis would be a top 5 MVP contender if you broke it down as far as 1 through 5. He would definitely be in the top 5. Anthony Davis has been having a great year. I would dare to say he's been having a better year than Luka. All right? I would dare to say he's been having a better year than Luka. Luka's been hurt a lot, hasn't looked like himself, has looked a little slower, does look a little overweight. Understood. But that trade, the motivation is what I'm planning. I'm really amped to see. And we saw it from Anthony Davis today. 26 points, 13 rebounds. Like I said, I think he has 6 or 7 assists or some shit like that. Maybe even 5 assists. I don't know. But I took him in Prize Picks for PRA. And he covered that shit in the first half. And his PRA on a demon was like 42.5. He covered it in the first half. But when they went to halftime, he was on the green slip. Anthony Davis said it was already done. He already covered. So, him, Kyrie, PJ Washington, the other pieces that they got over there. Oh, I'm sorry. And Maxi Kleber was in that trade. The Lakers got Maxi Kleber as well as Markieff Morris. Um, as far as Anthony Davis is for Luka, talent wise, it's not that far off. It isn't. From a standpoint of the Lakers trying to do business and find the next star after LeBron leaves, yes, this is a dream trade. It fell into your lap. Personally, I don't think either one of these GMs cooked up this fucking trade. This does sound like some owner shit. It does sound like some NBA shit to get ratings up. Nobody knew about it, or at least that's what they telling us. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Again, as far as Dallas is concerned, it's a good trade. I think they're gonna make a playoff run, but they are currently 10th. I mean, they're not top 5 team right now. So that's a lot of work. And again, you got to have a healthy Anthony Davis for this shit to work. Kyrie's been amazing, but he's not going to be able to do this shit by himself. He's not. I don't care how many points he averages or what he got going on. He's not going to be able to do this shit by himself. He can get him to the playoffs. He's definitely good enough to get him to the playoffs for sure. You're not beating nobody though without Anthony Davis. You're not beating anybody. I mean, OKC's out there, Memphis, Houston, the Lakers, Memphis, Minnesota. Yeah, no. Yeah, you need Anthony Davis, man. But on the other side of it, the Lakers actually made 2 trades. They made the Luka trade, and then they made the Mark Williams trade, which as of tonight, breaking news, was rescinded. They said that Mark Williams or the Charlotte Hornets didn't meet the trade, whatever it is, guidelines or expectation. Basically, they probably looked at Mark Davis and he was a little bit more hurt or a little bit more fucked up than they thought. And they wanted to take their trade back. Charlotte was supposed to get Dalton Knecht and Cam Reddish. Now Cam Reddish and Dalton Knecht will be back on the Lakers. Mark Davis will be back on the Charlotte Hornets, which I didn't talk about. Charlotte in the Eastern Conference, the Charlotte Hornets actually made some really good moves. But the Lakers, I think, are going to be okay, even without getting Mark Williams in this deal. And everybody's going to say, oh, well, you know, they need a big man. And I just, look, if y'all haven't figured this shit out about LeBron James yet, bro, like I've been watching him do this shit his whole fucking career. Now, he has not gotten to the mountaintop and won every time like Jordan did. Hell, he hasn't won as many as Kobe did. But if anybody gets to the top of the mountain, that motherfucker gets to the top of the mountain. I mean, he's been to the fucking finals 10 times, bro. Maybe 11, but I know for sure 10. 10 times. All of them teams wasn't good. All of them teams were not that good. They didn't suck. I'm not saying that they were trash. I'm not comparing him and Jordan and Kobe and none of that shit, but I'm just saying, bro, like, you gave LeBron James Luka Doncic is all I'm going to say. You gave him 2 shooters in Markieff Morris and Kleber, and now he gets his shooter back in Knecht. Cam Reddish is not the greatest shooter in the world, but is a good defender. That's the one thing I give Cam Reddish credit for. He has been a disappointment as far as being consistent, as far as shooting that basketball or shooting the three-pointer, but he has not disappointed on the defensive end. He gets in foul trouble a little bit because he's one of the only guys in the league that wants to play defense. And I think it's a good thing that the Mark Williams trade was rescinded. They were giving up a draft pick, and they were going to be stuck with Mark Williams for the rest of the season. Imagine if the trade goes through and he gets hurt just like AD did today. Now, I think AD will be fine. They say it's an abdominal strain. I'm a little worried because it was non-contact, but I do think that the Lakers are going to be okay. They're 5th in the West. They smoked the Pacers today with no Braun, no Luka Doncic. Man, listen, Luka and LeBron, if they gel quick, the Lakers, I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to the Western Conference Finals because they will climb that ladder, those standings, get up, and get the right positioning. Now, they can't play a team like Denver. They can't play a team like Denver, not without a big man. I mean, you're not going to find a big man better than Jokic, but you got to at least get a motherfucker who can stand in front of him. And Jackson Hayes, I'm going to tell you right now, I like Jackson Hayes. He's got high energy, very athletic. not there yet with everything else. And he gets in a lot of foul trouble sometimes, and but they got some bigs. I don't know the guy's name, but he looks pretty good. The Luka and LeBron thing with all those shooters though kind of reminds me of Dallas last year. Kyrie, Luka, a lot of shooters, some toughness. The Lakers got Finney Smith, Vanderbilt's back. Now you're getting Connect back. Now you're getting Cam Reddish back. Austin Reeves had 45 fucking points today. The Lakers are a problem. And for all the shit that everybody talked about, Mike Wilbon made it his personal mission to get up there and say, oh, I'm tired of these prima donnas. Darvin Ham did a good job. What the fuck was Darvin Ham record this time of the year for the past 2 years? Now let's look at JJ Redick's record. Let's look at JJ Redick's. Let's put some respect on JJ Redick's name right now, because there's a lot of people who have been saying, oh, he only got the job because he did the podcast with LeBron. I know for a fact that those people didn't watch the podcast. What you're saying may be true. That may be true. He might have only gotten the job because he was cool with LeBron and he had the podcast. But JJ Redick has done a good job this year. He has done a good job. That team is in 5th place with a chance to go even higher in the standings. If the Lakers finish in the top 3, I think you got to say JJ Redick is going to be a candidate for Coach of the Year, especially if they finish in the top 3. Houston's up there. Minnesota didn't really make any moves. They made a big trade in the offseason. OKC is set. They are ridiculously loaded with talent. I think they can go 10 deep, and that's in the playoffs. OKC, SGA is clearly the front runner for MVP. So the West is crazy, but that's the biggest trade. I'm not even gonna talk about the rest of that shit. Like the Clippers, I think they signed Ben Simmons today. And no disrespect to Ben Simmons, man, but bro, we just can't depend on you. Nobody can depend on you. You're either hurt or when you're in the game, you don't shoot the fucking ball. So it's the story until you change that narrative, bro. It ain't that I think you trash, bro. I'm just not worried about you. I don't give a damn who you sign with, honestly. The Warriors, like I said, rebuilding. They got the Jimmy Butler trade, so it's been a lot of. It was a really really entertaining trade deadline this year. Winners, I think the Lakers won. I can't say Dallas won just yet. I don't think they lost though. I don't think they lost. They lost a star, but you did get a very, very all-NBA player, first ballot Hall of Famer Anthony Davis, NBA champion Anthony Davis, perennial all-star Anthony Davis. So it's not like they got Luka for nothing, but they could have definitely gotten a lot more. So I'm not going to say that they won, but I'm not going to say that they lost yet either. But I do think the Lakers won that trade. I think Cleveland won the trade deadline. I thought Atlanta did a really good job of covering for an injury that they weren't expecting with Jalen Johnson. I thought the Heat definitely won. The Heat definitely won in this. They got some good players. They just, again, how does everything fit? We're going to see how good of a coach Spoelstra is. Does he get the most that he can get out of Wiggins? Is Wiggins willing to do something different? Maybe score the ball a little bit more. It doesn't have to be Jimmy. Maybe be a different type of threat. So it's a lot going on in the NBA. All-Star Weekend coming up, man. I'm not going to hold y'all too much longer. This is a super long episode. I apologize, but I had a lot to talk about. I'm going to drop a Super Bowl episode before the Super Bowl. Hopefully, you'll watch it before the Super Bowl. If you don't and you see this one first, go back and watch the Super Bowl episode, man. We back. NBA All-Star Weekend. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the unrivaled WNBA getting ready to kick back up soon, man. I'm so happy to be behind the mic again. Feels good. Feels good. It took me a while to get through this episode, man, but it feels good. As you can see, the background is still the same. Is life be life, and man, it's hard. But, it's quality. I just try to keep it real with y'all, man, and try to make sure it's edited properly so y'all can enjoy it and see what's going on. I'll try to be more consistent in 2025. That was a promise I made to myself as well as my wife. Just being more consistent with everything, especially putting out this content, man. But listen, I got to get off here, man. I got a tea time at 8:30 in the morning with my guys. So I'm going to log off. Marcus Front Office Podcast, Tees and Trees is the clothing line. Y'all take it easy. I'm going to holler at you. Peace.